How to start paying off your credit card debt. Sounds simple, right? Not so fast. Credit card debt is one of the most tricky types of debt we have. It's unlike any other kind of debt we have. If you're not careful, you can find yourself in thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars worth of credit card debt. And how to pay it off? Well, that's the easy part, making the payments. If you got the cash, click off the video and go pay your credit cards off in full right now. But for everybody else, you're in the right place, because in this video, I want to talk about how to start, because starting is the hardest part. And I want to share with you 5 things that I personally did to pay off over $25,000 worth of credit card debt. If you're new here, I want to welcome you to the channel and give you the opportunity to click the subscribe button and join the community. And if you've been rocking with me, thank you for your continued support. You know, I don't talk theory here. This is real world. And this is things that I personally did in my life. And it not only allowed me to pay off my credit card debt, but ensure that that credit card debt is never going to come back. So if that's something you can rock with, then tune in, turn up the speakers, and lock in to the end of the video. Let's jump into it. NerdWallet put out a survey that said the average household in America is carrying just north of $6,000 in credit card balances. And carrying is month to month. And I gotta be honest, I was one of those folks. I got my very first credit card at 18, and I've had credit cards for most of my adult life. And I also was one of those ones that was carrying debt. Sometimes it was small, maybe just a few $100s on a credit card. Other times it was tens of thousands of dollars on credit cards. And this stuff snuck up on me. It wasn't like I went out and, like when you sign up for a car, you go to a dealership, sign some paperwork, you drive off with a car, and you go to bed that night $30,000 deeper in debt than you woke up. Credit cards don't work like that. And that's why I say that they're a little tricky. The first thing you want to do, the first thing that I did was identify them as debt. And not just debt that has to go. Because one of the mistakes that I made, and it happened over many, many years, somehow I made it so that credit cards was just a part of my everyday life. Credit card bills and credit card debt was just regular monthly bills. So I would pay them, put a little extra on them, not a big deal, move on with my life. So I got to the point where I was treating my credit card bills like a utility bill, like a water bill, and I'm paying them every single month. And that's not true. That's not the case. Credit card debt is not something you should have. Credit card bills is not something you have to pay. It's not a part of everyday life. And so it has to be identified as such, and understand that that has to go. And that was one of the first things that I did. And if you need help with that, just add up your credit card bills and how much you're sending these banks each month, and then punch that number into a calculator over the next 20 years at 8 to 10% interest, and see how much money you're losing by paying these credit cards each and every month. So you have to get this stuff identified as it is, debt that has to go. The second thing I did was decided to stop using them and committed to that decision. And this is hard, especially if you like I was. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I wouldn't have admitted it back then because I didn't really think I was, but now knowing a lot better, I was definitely living paycheck to paycheck. And the reason I say that it's hard to stop using these credit cards if you're living paycheck to paycheck, or even worse, is because those credit cards are like a lifeline. Like when something happens and you don't have money, you can put it on the credit card. And then when you get paid, even if you don't pay it off, you can pay it down enough to give you that lifeline again on the next pay cycle. This is a game that's going to get you trapped, where you're going to have these credit card bills forever and they're never going to disappear. So if you want to start and get started paying off your credit card debt, you have to commit to no longer using them. And what that means is you're going to have to do what millions of Americans do with who they consider unbanked or underbanked. Folks who don't use credit cards and don't have access to credit cards. You figure out a way. And if y'all know where I'm from, y'all seen my video on breaking the cycle, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. But you can get creative to solve problems, especially if you take that credit card off the table and it's no longer there for you. Because now it's not a crutch, now it's not a lifeline, now you don't have it, so now you're gonna have to come up with something else. And this is gonna help you when you get further along in your journey and you're actually starting to pay down these balances. Because what happens, and it happened to me, is I would be paying on my credit cards. At the same time, I'm over here saving up for a vacation or saving up to buy this next widget, whatever it is that I wanted to get. And I'm paying my credit cards, but the balances are not going down. And even when they did go down, something would happen and I would put it on the credit card again. And now the balances just come up. And that's what they call a cycle. And did y'all know that banks have a nickname for people who don't pay their credit cards off every single month? Those are the bank's favorite type of customers. I was the bank's #1 customer for many, many years. And they call us revolvers. Revolvers is somebody who carry a balance from month to month. They're paying that 10, 15, 20, 25% interest every single month. And the bank is just raking it in. And you are the ones who's paying for those rewards, those points, and letting those banks build those big old buildings downtown. You're the revolver, and they absolutely love you. But this is not going to help you reach your financial goals. So you have to commit and decide no longer are you going to use these credit cards. You got to pay them off, and they got to go. Never coming back. The third tip to how to start paying off your credit card debt is to, wait, before we do that, do me a favor and click the like button so that I know that you're getting value out of this video and it sends a clear message to YouTube that folks are interested in this and they'll push it out to other folks. The third thing I set in motion when I started paying off my credit card debt was to build a small emergency fund. This is crucial because if you committed that these credit cards have to go, it's debt that's got to get out your life and you're going to pay them off and you're not going to use them anymore, well, again, if you're like I was, where you kind of leaned on your credit cards as that crutch, well, things aren't going to stop happening to you because you got a new spirit about you and you're ready to get rid of your credit card debt. Life is still going to happen to you. It definitely kept happening to me. And so this little emergency fund is going to be there for you so that you don't have to use those credit cards and you don't sign up for new credit cards because regardless of what happens, there's always some credit available to help you solve that problem, right? You need to fly home and you can't afford a plane ticket right there on the airline website. Oh, break this down into 3 easy payments. You want your car breaks down, you need some tires? Oh, we have 12 months, no interest. I know you only need 1 tire, but if you buy 3, we'll give you the 4th one free, put it on the credit card, you get 18 months to pay it off. Well, I guess that's a good idea. These are bad ideas. These are terrible ideas. And this is the type of stuff that you're not going to fall for if you have a little bit of money. Now, this emergency fund is something small. I'm talking 500, 1,000, 2,000. This is a small number, something you can get to quick, not something that like 10,000 or 20,000, not something that's going to take you 6 months or a year to save up because you're going to find yourself in way more credit card debt. Because again, life tends to chase those people and emergencies tend to chase those who really can't afford it. And I know that from personal experience. And as I worked through my debt and I was able to get out of it, I actually realized now I don't have nearly as many emergencies. And that could be for various reasons, but it's definitely good to have some type of emergency fund so you don't use those credit cards because that is the only way that you're going to prevent yourself from going deeper into debt and to get out of this silly cycle of credit card debt and stop being a revolver. You don't want to be the bank's favorite customer. Now we're at number 4. And this is where everything starts to come together. Now we're ready to get going. And you have to decide how you're going to get out of debt. I know you just pay money to your debtors. That's how you get out of debt. But there are some popular methods out there. You can do it based off of interest rates. You can do it based off of dollar amount, your balance that you owe. You can do it off of which one make you feel better. Which car do you hate the most? Which one do you want to be out of your life the fastest? You can make that the one your priority is. So you have to pick a method. The debt snowball and the debt avalanche, those are 2 of the most popular ones. I did a full video with breakdowns and real world numbers so you can see how it breaks out and how it turned out over time. And basically the snowball is where you list your debts from smallest to largest and you pay everything on the smallest debt. And when that one's gone, you move all of that money up to the next smallest and you keep that going until finally you're putting all your money on that final debt and you're completely debt free. The debt avalanche is where you list things by interest rate and you start with the highest interest rate and you get that one paid off and then roll it into the next one. Now, it's up to you. There really is no right or wrong answer. For me personally, I use the debt snowball because the avalanche, it mathematically can make sense. But I'm going to be honest, I never once thought about the math when I was swiping my credit card. So I thought that I would not try to use the math to try to help me get out of it. The debt snowball is similar to the one that make you feel good, right? It gives you that win every time you pay off a credit card, especially if you got some small little credit cards like $500 to Amazon, $800 to Best Buy. You got small little credit cards. Oh man, snowball is going to come in effect, because what used to be a utility bill for you, where you was paying them every single month and it was just something you was going to keep around forever, now you're hitting these things with all the extra cash you got. You're hitting all your minimum payments, and you're going to get the smallest one done, and you're going to roll that up to the next one. And every time I paid off a debt, it made the next one go even faster. So that's why I prefer this debt snowball. But again, you can check out my video on snowball versus avalanche and decide for yourself. But pick a method, stick with it, and then pay your debt off. And this brings us to number 5. Let's round this out. Now at this point, what I did was I started actually paying the debt. And this is where I was starting to find the money. Because let's face it, if you have credit card debt or any kind of debt, only money can pay it off. And so you have to find that money. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Of course, you could go and work some overtime or take extra shifts or go get a second job. But what I did, and what I encourage you to do, is start with the most simplest way to find money. And here's how I did it. Pull up my bank account, and you go ahead and do it. Last month, pull up your statement. See what you're spending your money on. Look through that list and identify anything that's not a necessity. These are things that's easy kills. You can cut these things out and you will not miss them. They are not going to affect your life at all. Every one you cross off, that's a dollar amount that you can add to your debt, that you can pay towards your debt. And that's an easy way to find money. I did a whole video on why budgets are dangerous and how to use them properly. Also did one on why people hate budgeting. Both of those are great videos to help you get started with budgeting. And I'm gonna be honest with you, as much as we hate talking about budgets, it is the most important part of getting out of debt. And even though I've been debt free for a while, I'm still on a budget. I still use a budget, and I absolutely love it, because now that budget is not like some type of authoritarian telling me how I'm going to spend my money. It's actually me and my wife coming together and deciding what we're going to do with our money, so that when the money comes in the house, we don't even need to think about it, because we've already laid it all out. At that point, it's just executing. And so the budget it may be a curse word, but it is important. And so finding that extra money is going to go a long way. And start with the simple stuff. Subscriptions you don't need. Maybe your cable package. Maybe you can drop down to a slower internet speed. There are all type of ways that you can find to cut a few dollars. And I'm telling you, even just $10 and $20, these little fines are going to add up to $100, $200 a month that you can put on your debt. And then once you do that and you get started, I won't spoil it for you, but I'll just tell you this. Once you get going and you start to see some progress, you ain't gonna have to worry about cutting and finding money. Your gears gonna get to turning real quick, and they're gonna be oiled well. And I'm telling you, you're gonna find all kinds of traction, and you're gonna come up with all kind of money that you didn't even know you had. I promise you that. And now, looking at it from the other side, being debt free and paying it off, I can tell you that what you have to look forward to on the other side of that credit card debt is absolutely a beautiful thing. You can start looking at the future, and you can start using the money you work for to build and provide for your future instead of paying for your past. If you've made it this far, I'm going to assume that you received some value out this video, and I invite you again, if you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button, click the like button, and until the next time, check out this playlist I have on how to get out of debt. It's packed full of gems to help you take control of your money and start building wealth. Until next time, my name is Diamond. Peace.